After hours. The wind signals it is evening. Time to put one's mysteries against the sunset. Boredom, boredom, the unique art of the mysteries that are forever kept from us, the average. I must resign myself to my run-of-the-millness, keep rougher with the ordinary. It depresses me, all which I do not know, as though I am uncomputerized. A room full of nouns. The squeak of mice, the noise nouns make. The room full of fears, the tears we try to run to the rain for silence from the noise nouns make. Once upon a day, the rebirth of take and give, the reason we forgot to see more, to season for the reason for the season, a season of reason we yearn and pine. For a way there is noise, the noise nouns make. Noise and nouns, the nonsense, the sounds. We listen and search the heavens, the moon and clouds penetrate the dark sky. I will ask why and what we listen to. Well, the noise. The noise nouns, the nouns make. Envoy, nouns flow from my loins like flowers. A metaphor, the king asks his men for more than heaven. This house of images belongs to someone else. Two more poems. Turn up your heart, the moon is full. The morn of the moon is in morning. Another poem. I am like a boat snoring at the mooring. Poema appassionata. Set this house on fire. My thrust sets the world on fire. Sometimes I think I am at the top of high achievement and excruciating responses. High excitement and high achievement. Only Henry James. History is dark. Another poem. The icy trees in North Beach I cannot reach, for I am just a small boy that is yet to be obeyed. Another poem at Starbucks. People peruse like Christmas shoppers after Christmas. A sign on the bus says, not in service. People march and walk quietly up and down 3rd Street in the year 2014, familiar and ordinary. No, the air has been clean of envy and metaphor and the certain love of loves. Another poem. My poems plod on the pages like a plow horse that pretends to be a dashing thoroughbred. On the eve of a reading, there are people over there, as I lose my mind to a pronoun. At the beach. The sun sets as though a child had drawn it. Rays like a crayon glimmer to the sand. The waves squiggle and giggle, undulate underneath the passive surfer. On top of days and daisies, the sun sings a song to the soft, wet sand. I'm almost afraid to run to the water and get wet up to my ankles. Sonnet at Starbucks. The day presses onward. My lips concentrate on the blaring trombones and conga drums that remind me of far-off ecstasy and dancers. Yes, the pulse of dancers that move and sway, that carry on with the day's tedium and romance. Goals and visions, the mad pulse that cannot cease if the sky had stopped being blue and gray, if sirens stopped blaring and making the noise to end all noises, the noise that penetrates all pressure and silence. The streets are a serene jungle that jangles all that jingles and jangles. That jangles the jungle. Away, atop the world, the debris is a rubble of cinders and the adjustments of it all. You are reborn 1,000 times. Ball and chain, struggle with night and stumble to show for it all. Trum and make, double or nothing. That's the way it is. The gull, the nerve, you wind up meaning nothing. Stall around, that's the best you couldn't do. A bubble I try to burst and hope it will not pop. And start, that's how it goes along. Merry men learn from their mistakes. They stop, then go. Routine false lie at that. Nary a hair, that's what I wonder at. I try by not trying to put my head in the sand. Okay, thank you.
Every 5 minutes.
Hey everybody, if you don't know me, my name's Clyde Always. I'm a local cartoonist, poet, juggler, dreamer, adventurer, inventor, sculptor, stand-up comic, still walker, and coincidentally I wait some tables in my free time. But I got a very special poem for you tonight. I can do a few, I suppose, if I get the starting timer. There we go. Now we're good. So this is one of the first poems I ever wrote when I first started writing poems, and it's entitled The Story of My Uncle Dan, and it's by me, yours truly, Clyde Always. When I was a much younger lad, about the age of 10, I'd stay up past my mom and dad for mischief now and then, and it was late when autumn red I saw a distant man. He came up to my side and said, I am your Uncle Dan. I know you your entire life. I know the way you are. I know your adolescent strife. I've seen it from afar. And so I traveled here this fall across the countryside. I bounded over mountains tall and forded rivers wide. I came so you could lighten up and love the guy you'll be. But first I need to fill my cup, it's empty, you can see. And I'm super hungry too, my uncle did exclaim. I'll cook a midnight feast for you and eat it just the same. And so my Uncle Dan, he cracked some eggs and made a roux. He piled meats in case he stacked and thickened up the stew. We munched and gulped and slurped and ate, we smiled as we chewed. My Uncle Dan refilled his plate and gobbled all the food. And then we laid our heads to rest, the dishes still a mess. I worried Mom would beat her chest and get me to confess. But Uncle Dan, he woke before the folks could start the day. He picked me right up off the floor and we were on our way. Well, Uncle Dan, I shouted out, where are we gonna go? I'm taking you to see the trout, there's something you must know. And so we walked up to the farm in time for dawn's first gleam. I saw this farm had little charm, an artificial stream. The fish were swimming something mad, they fought for every inch. But since 6 feet was all they had, these fish were in a pinch. And Uncle Dan, he pointed to a solitary fish and said, that's what we all must do if life is what we wish. You see how he swims all day long. He fights against the squall. He suffers deep and suffers strong to get nowhere at all. Now come with me, said Uncle Dan, up to the tire yard. I got a really brilliant plan to get you past the guard. And so we snuck right past that guy who wasn't really there. A tractor tire caught my eye and on gas. Do we dare to roll this tire down the street and see how far it goes? But Uncle Dan, I stomped my feet. That's where the traffic flows. But Uncle Dan, he worried not and let that tire fly. It rolled a straight and narrow shot to where the cars whizzed by. The tire bounced, the tire thrashed, it kicked and picked up speed. But luckily, it never crashed. Relieved I was indeed. I bet that tire's rolling still. I bet you that today is passing by a fabric mill way down Mexico way. Now the time has come, my uncle said, for me to say farewell. And don't forget, hold high your head, that's all I have to tell. And then my Uncle Dan was gone as quickly as he came. Back home he must have moseyed on, and then I did the same. Before my folks I had to stand, and Jesus seemed so mean that I held my jaw quite squarely and proceeded to come clean. I spilled my guts and told them all, and oh, my mouth it ran. But my words, they bounced from wall to wall when I said, Uncle Dan. Now boy, said Pop, you know I am my mother's only son. Your mother's brother's name is Sam, but he's the only one. Thanks, everybody. That's the story of Uncle Dan. It's a true story. All right, this next one's going out to anybody who's ever felt the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it's entitled Just Another Guy, and it's by me, yours truly, Clyde Always. They looked at me and begged my help, their eyebrows pressing high, as if I was the wisest whelp, not just another guy. And cleverly I looked them back and flashed a gleaming smirk and said, don't let yourself catch flack from just another jerk. But they insisted something mad and pulled upon my rope. I said, don't let yourself be had by just another dope. Well, they grabbed my shirt and yanked with might until their knees fell down. I asked, you wish to share your plight with just another clown? Well, they screamed and tore upon their mane and cried and splutter spat. I asked, you wish to share your pain with just another cat? They answered, yes, we need you now. We don't mean to seem rude. I said, you really needn't bow to just another dude. And so I picked them rightly up and placed them pocket-wise. Then when she pulled beer to my cup, I heard some other sighs. Thanks, everybody. That's Just Another Guy. That's my neighbor, Shoot Clyde. I got one more for you. If you don't mind, send through a very short one. All right. This next one's called Witless Will, and it's by me, yours truly, Clyde Always, and it goes, Witless Will, who was whittling into the wind, is wondering why he's wiping a wood chip out of his eye. Thanks, everybody. That's Witless Will, and that's my name, Clyde Always. for tuning in to another episode of Glad Hope Show. Thanks so much. It's been great.
Jonathan, followed by Ann Leonard. It's John.
Followed.
Oh, no, that was Clyde. Sorry, Jonathan. Oh,
I certainly.
He's really ready. He's really ready.
I really changed. Tonight, as I walked to the bus stop, a bicycle on the sidewalk went by me, and I said, "Get on the street." I was 10 years old in North Beach, here in the city, and riding a bicycle. I did not ride on the sidewalk. I rode in the street, and believe it or not, there were cars and trucks and other bicycles with me on the street. But if a bicycle hits you or me, A, they don't have insurance. B, it hurts like hell to have a piece of steel driven into you. And yet, there are policemen who say, "Oh, they're allowed to ride a bicycle down on the sidewalk here." And I said, by California state law, it says you can't. So anyway, when I was 10, off my bicycle, I said, how many years to the turn of the century? And I said, 61. I'd be 61 when the turn of the century. I'll make it. Well, guess what? I did. Because I'm here today. The first quarter went so slow, my Lord, to reach the age of 25 took forever for everybody. The next 25 were pretty slow too. But the next 25 went by like a jet. And I am 75 and almost 75 and a half. Remember when we were half age? I'm 6 and a half. I'm going on 7. Yeah, I do. I was up on that hill. When I looked up in the sky, I saw stars. It was the war, and lights were down. Blackout. They didn't know that this was a racial term. And I saw so many stars. The Big Dipper, the chariots, and all the things that are still up there, I hope. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Ann Leonard.
well, I still write poetry, but I've been reading this book. I'm kind of like dedicated to exposing the real punk history here. And so anyhow, I'm working on chapter 2. of my punk history from San Francisco, the years 1977 to 81. And this chapter is called In the Fault Zone, the Punk Crunch on SF Socio-Politico Distortion. Yeah, okay. And we were walking under dark clouds in November of 1978. The Jonestown suicides with the murder of Representative Leo Ryan on the 18th and the assassination of Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk 9 days later had the city reeling. A new conservative administration catering to big business took over and started tightening the reins. Guess who? In what was to become an escalating spiral of absurdity, punks began receiving citations for postering. Then the MAB, where Mayor Moscone's daughter worked on publicity, was heavily cruised by the SFPD, who went after the sidewalk rabble for curfew violations and being drunk and disorderly. Even the sheriff, Mike Hennessy, a dead Kennedy fan, was in line for a show when the cops raided the club and arrested 20 people. Besides causing an interagency flap, the Chronicle's publishers threw a fit about police tactics because one of the fans who'd been arrested was an employee of the paper. One night, Ivy and I were taking hits off a half pint in the parking lot next to the MAP when Craig Gray and Will Shatter of Negative Trend got into a yelling match with some kids from the suburbs. We backed away from the scene when the cops wheeled in and hauled a slightly high Will and the Trend's very on-drunk band manager, Peter Urban, who also managed the Dills and the Zeros, to the drunk tank. Quote, "And the drunk tank is a pretty shitty place to spend the night when you're not drunk," Peter said. Punk annex brought more unwanted attention when 5 fire trucks lined Broadway after a band set off flash pops during the set, filling the upstairs rehearsal space with smoke. Dirk said some of the personal problems of the artists would result in the increased focusing of emergency services. He remembered, "We did spend a lot of time having to diffuse potential problems with cops. One punk singer got into his girlfriend's mother's medicine chest and took everything in it on top of the Quaaludes he was already on. He was just flying. When he was told he wasn't welcome in the club, he broke the front door in. We kept throwing him out and throwing him out. The police came. But after Dirk insisted the singer needed medical attention instead of a night in jail, an ambulance was called. The Mapo High was becoming a nuisance to law enforcement, and management banned minors and raised the prices at the door. Susie, Caitlin, and Gordon, a.k.a. the Pop-Tarts, all between 15 and 16 years old, repeatedly snuck in for free with the help of Chester, a photographer friend, and were repeatedly tossed out. Susie told me, "Dirk got so mad at us all, he handcuffed us to the chairs in the office."
Cool.
Younger punks were grumbling, and so were a lot of the bands. The word was the club had ousted minors, a huge percentage of the fan base, because they weren't good for the bar business. Third bill bands complained that besides being denied a sound check, they weren't getting a decent cut. The Dills had offered to do curfew shows for the minors but had been turned down. Higher ticket prices excluded the true hardcore with their society of scarcity lifestyle. Only curiosity seekers and weekend punks could afford to drink at the bar. The rest of us smuggled in our own or bought cheap taps at the dirty bookstore near Enrico's, then downed in nearby parking lots and alleyways. But Dirk said Ness, the Mapo High's Filipino proprietor, had made a decision. It was out of his hands. Ivy, Ruby, Vale, and I got to the club for an Avengers show and found that Dills and Peter Urban had started a boycott and were walking the picket line along with other fans. The Avengers were unsettled about it but joined the boycott. Soon after, the Dills, who'd made a vow never to charge more than $4 per ticket, went on to produce their own show at 330 Grove Street, initiating a flood of new venues, including the Temple Beautiful, the Deaf Club, Club Foot, Valencia Tool and Die, the American Indian Center, and the Sound of Music, and the Savoy Tivoli, among others. The Dills and their canceled communist manager, Peter, were central to San Francisco's punk politics. The outspokenly leftist band had moved to the city seeking asylum from the show-busy decadence and political ambivalence of the Southern California scene. Guitarist Chip Kinman wore a Hammer and Sickle t-shirt, and the band sang songs like Class War, I Hate the Rich, and Red Rockers. Chip's brother Tony, the band's bass player, along with S&D's political columnist Nico Orway, had been the driving force between the Punks Against Black Lung, a benefit for striking coal workers. So, trying. Yeah.
Like my.
Okay, we don't eat, but I want, we operate.
Yeah, no, I'll have like a comment.
Okay, it's my turn, then Michelle Murphy, and then our teacher. I'm going to read a poem by Robert Frost. By the way, I want to point out to all the poets that the camera for the internet is right up there atop the ship picture. So you might
Wonder Putin can see you from here.
They can see, yes, people can see you, and you can see him if you look hard enough. So it's good to refer to it every now and then. Okay, I'm going to read The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, number 40 years old. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood. I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And I want to dedicate that to the memory of H.D. So I wrote a poem that's dedicated to the National Poetry Month end, which is today's the last day of Poetry Month. And it's called We Poets. Take the road less traveled by, covered with leaves and no pension sigh. The path leads here to sacred grounds, where good-hearted poets make the rounds. With souls fulfilled, empty pockets bare, they love the fog and extol the air. The winds blow in and then they're calm, as words find voice, observatory storm. The lens of the poet, the syntax machine, exculpatory rave, nothingness and mean. We exonerate Frost, Allen Ginsberg, and Yeats, full of feelings and ideas that each poem roughly states, and get sick of being sick of repetition, when what we really crave is love permeating rendition. So listen and be heard, my dears, the road gets trampled and worn, as poets use less traveled paths to make their case and state their views, as poets choose the oddly engaging and say the enraging. If turmoil they're waging or grandstand they're staging, it's up to the pile-up of words as they end to decipher the truths they are trying to win on the road that's less traveled, where poet lives come unraveled in rivers of words like the music of birds, and of angels on high, poets pass by and by on the quest for ideas and to conquer their fears of the road less traveled, on the road less trampled, on the mysterious road ignored by most people, on the road less traveled And now, I think this is a new poem to Sacred Grounds, Michelle Murphy. Let's welcome her.
Hello. I've never been here before, and when I go to a place that I've never been, I try to bring my rock'em sock'em material. But in this case, I don't know if it's totally appropriate. It's actually pretty vulgar and inappropriate because it's about... Oh! Okay, because it's about a thing that happened that was vulgar and inappropriate. So I was hoping maybe we could put it up to a vote.
Pretty good.
Pretty vulgar and crude, though. Okay. If anybody feels offended, you can put your hand up, and I will gracefully exit stage right. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. My body is perfect. From my prematurely whitening hair to my flat feet, I was designed with precision. Every part of me is the right part of me, and I was supposed to be this way. Spider veins travel up my legs, pumping and delivering blood to my heart. They stand out and pulse with purple and turquoise green, which just so happen to be my favorite colors. Remove them with a laser, you say? Go fuck yourself. You sound crazy. I was supposed to be this way. Thank you. Skin so pale it's translucent, milky white and blinds like a light. Don't blame the Irish heritage, blame me. A night owl for life, growing and reading and writing in the 0 hours when you're all asleep. Of course I'm supposed to be the color of the moonlight. The man in the moon is my man, my best friend, my most inspired me. Fix this pigment and go tan, you say? Go fuck yourself. You must be crazy. I was supposed to be this way. You're so supportive. Left front tooth slightly discolored from my right because when I was 5, I took a fall face first into the bleachers. Because even when I was in kindergarten, I knew I was hungry to eat this world out and make her come all over me, inside me, and around me. Diagnosed as a tongue thruster, that's a real orthodontist term, I had to wear a headgear inside my mouth called an Herbst appliance, and I tasted the blood and the metal every night, and the blood mixed and it sat and it stained my already injured tooth. Get my tooth whitened, you say? Go fuck yourself. You sound crazy. I was supposed to be this way. Limbs that are weak and long, chicken arms that hang like yarn because I don't lift weights. Because the muscle I train the most is my voice. Because if my body is a temple, then my mouth is sacrosanct. I deep throat ideas, then spit them back on you. I'll only swallow thoughts that taste good. So whoever designed me knew my moneymaker. Go to the gym and work on other muscles and get toned, you say? Go fuck yourself. I don't like working out, and it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my body is so perfect that it never betrays me. You can push it, punch it, lick it, squeeze it, touch it, buck it, pop it, lock it, drop it, and reverse it, but it's mine. You can love it and cherish it and even take it for a spin, but I will always be the owner of this Mercedes-Benz. You can even rape it, like you did. But the thing is, it's so fucking perfect, it knew not to give in. It wouldn't eat or sleep or drink for days after you because it knew I was repulsed. And see, you didn't just want to rape me. You wanted to date me, so you tried to date rape me, but you weren't even dating me, so you had to settle for raping me. My perfect body, which in turn, because it's so perfect, rejected you in the next few weeks. That's how right it was. It knew how wrong you were, pushed you out like a virus trying to invade. It's vomiting and shaking and crying tells the truth of that twisted night. It would never lie to me. Sit back and convince yourself it didn't happen, you say? Go fuck yourself and only yourself. My body is perfect, my body is mine, and you know the rest. I was supposed to be this way. Thank you.
Never apologize. Okay. And now it's time for our feature. Please welcome. We're going to have a real treat here, Don Altadena.
For the treasure and terror of the tender knob, pink princess of Pine Street promise, the most happy-making human, from Nob Hill to North Beach, and goddess only knows where beyond. 3 gardenias, fresh cut, local florist, floating in a glass dish of water by our bed, is all it takes to fill the room with the full fragrance of our cosmic, comic, erotic, biotic, hyper-hypno-psychotic love to shine like a beacon of love on loveless and loveful ages alike, casting bright love beams and affection shadows and soft, cool beams and silent shadows, and casting shadows even where other loves shine brighter than burning magnesium, bright and true. Well, you know, as the published, popular, sensitive, and generationally appropriately disillusioned poets find only the trash and filth and noise and failure and scum and scrapings outside, and the guilt and grief and irony and ire and agony and ego and stupidity inside, why not the beam-filled reality you only feel beside someone you let yourself love, as if you had any choice in the matter? Especially if you had any choice in the matter. Why close your nose to the smell of 3 gardenias, the flower they named garden after? Oh, but the published, popular, and sensitive poets, the scholars and reviewers and the critics, hip-hop street cred from some academy, pub, zine, or website, all they know of garden is, we're not in Eden anymore, Toto. All know and show and reveal and revel in the momas and puke and crap underlying all our disassociated, dissociative, disastrous modern existence, and whatever I scrape from the sole of my shoe off the street onto a rug or andiron there and made for just that purpose, they take as the whole of reality. Everything is shit. Everything is holy. Everything is holy shit. How are you supposed to believe these people who can't distinguish this shit from letters congratulating nieces on great report cards, hours people spend helping otherwise helpless, directions to foreign tourists on that Tenderloin Street they'd rather not be, getting with them to a block they might not find unmolested without you, cleaning up other people's trash in a public park, giving money to every street musician and lost soul panhandler you see for a whole day, week, fortnight, month, year. People who work so hard to get people out of their addiction or psychosis or criminal past in the halfway houses other people try so hard to keep out of the neighborhood. Drivers waving my bicycle through a crowded intersection even when they have the right of way. I know, it sometimes happens, even here. Teachers spending all day trying to interest other people's kids in knowledge, knowing that most parents are interested in spending their nights with those kids, if at all, showing them Blockbuster and Billboard and baseball, not Basho or Beethoven or Bohr or Botticelli. What's the matter? You can't make them have better scores than those kids in Japan or Mississippi. Firefighters killed in the line of duty, falling through burning floors for people they never met, leaving behind orphans and honored memories and families intact, not theirs. When was the last time your priest or boss or broker or spiritual advisor or investment helper did that? But 3 gardenias. See, some see only the smallness of our room, the clutter that living leaves behind and lives in, the half-light from having windows showing only the space between buildings pushing together to mid-block. But to me, to us, to we, this studio bachelorette becomes a penthouse palace in paradise. Air pleasured with perfume and perfumed with pleasure, birds singing, music playing, waterfalls and wine and fountains and vine, and where we find the bliss that eludes bank accounts. The wealth that's way beyond, what do you do for a living? The happiness wholly past. How'd the market do for you last year? What are we wearing this season? Have you heard that new song about nothing? They're playing everywhere we go. Or 3 gardenias. The scent that sends me senseless, that pushes poems out the narrow openings of mouth, womb, pen, pounding on computer, keyboard, carpal tunnel vision, like spit and blood and broken teeth past my lips after I am introduced to the universe by the cosmic haymaker of cupidity and your year-round valentines delivered smack to my open, wondering jaw. Hoping for applause, feather belts, yoni-shaped cowrie shells, cyberbike bank transfers to give me the chance to visit her in her city, San Francisco, city of Norton, never really emperor, Moscone, unconventional mayor, now convention hall, pyramids for insurance, not gods, modern protectors against misfortune, giants of baseball and literature and alcoholism. Ginsburg, now dead, still well read, Ferlinghetti, not faggot, great writer anyway. Lighting cities near Spaghetti Tourist District, Golden Gateway from Chinese Dragon to America Rex. From insanely long-lived redwood trees to insanely forever dead redwood decks. Mayor Brown, self-serving and pie-deserving. Mayor Newsom, pretty gruesome. Coit Tower, right over there where it's supposed to be. You find not one, not two, but 3 gardenias, fresh cut, local florist in the glass dish by your bed, that brings me closer to heaven than any church or temple or common prayer or stained glass received wisdom, like this city, like my thoughts when, as so often, they are laced with tastes. Okay, we're a little bit of a roller coaster. That was high. There might be some high points and some low points in this next one. Just give me a moment. Actually, I should have a little bit of grape juice from California. Four voices, 2 couples, none of them are me. All of them are all of us. Marie, Marie, my lover cooed to me. Our woman lips and our woman hips, tongues love-locked where my soul strips, nakeder than naked before your loving gaze. And it's more than your eyes looking in me, it's more than your body holding me. It's 25 years of magazine subscriptions, rare first editions, theater tickets, nighttime crickets, teach other people's kids for a career in a pittance. Those crazy shoelaces, things in and out of places, weddings we were invited to and weddings we were not, Sunday morning coffee and crossword puzzles, whispered that floated like rainbowed soap bubbles, bent to the bebop breeze blowing our blues away. Marie, we are nature, dreaming nature, the infinite, contemplating infinity. We are all the image, the source, and the end of all divinity. It's not any the less so just because you're the same sex as me. That's just a happy accident or synchronicity. Oh, Marie, at our love's first blush, waves rushed over us and out to sea, threw me up on your shore, not newly out, but now new infatuation, scared us and made us want more. Time passed. Trees lost leaves, flowers lost petals, to end, then grew new ones. We decided to settle together, whatever the other ones say. Us can't be happy without us anyway. Are you like the L word? Yeah, we're lovers. Camp songs, tampons, sailboats on some brilliant bays. 25 years of nights spent close together is 9,131 days. Long summer days with iced lemonades, warm winter cocoa and tea all year round, calling you at work on the phone when I found that special something in a store that made me think so of you. I couldn't wait till we got home to let you know. All the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs, all the silences and screams and the sighs and the shouts, give and get gifts at holidays, but for all the things we've been, all these years of loving, all some folks see is sin. 25 years in the hospital where you lie, maybe dying. Says, I can't visit. I'm not legal family or kin. They are under no obligation to even tell me your condition. They say it's based on the Bible, but I think Christ would let me in. Where in the scripture did he bar the door to law? Oh, no, not Paul, who said women shouldn't speak in her church. This sin's not in the Ten Commandments or in the Sermon on the Mount. I know, I looked, I checked. If it was there, I would have found it. Some would actually rather not read this stuff, but rather would deceive themselves into believing it says only what they already believe, or that Revelation ended with Leviticus or Deuteronomy. 25 years of life together, longer than it's been since the birth of the security guard who's now escorting me to the door. Like mythic Philomena, Io, or Europa, so rudely forced, crying and protesting, voice well beyond hoarse. When you were in the 3rd grade, we'd been together a decade, which is longer than you've been able to drive. How can you do this? How can you do this to us? The hospital says it's okay if I get her parents' consent. They're the ones who said, you are no longer our family! When she came out to them. 25 years heretofore, hours left, maybe 24. The horror of the horror that this horror is grows more. The hold of my hand will do more than your tubes. She wants more than your IVs. She wants love, please. We are more married than most of your parents. We are more married than whatever your law allows. Come here, Bill. I know you will enjoy. Come here, lover, my lover said, the many sides of your manly pride's tongues, love locked, while my soul strives nakeder than naked for your loving eyes, and it's more than your gaze piercing right through me, and it's more than your arms holding onto me. It's 25 years of forevers at work and 2 brief vacations, all the I'm so sorry's, all the congratulations, all the often hilarious, how did we get into this? Situations. 25 years of hairstyles, turnstiles, airline miles, concerts out of doors, not altogether fat-free or easy recipes, Coke Van, breakfast some more. Fun folding after washing sheets, walking walks down old familiar streets, all the weddings and family events we were invited to. And all the weddings and family events we were not. You're born to Bob. You atomic. You're more smiles to me than any comic. You help me to revise my vistas from the merely visible to courting and sparking and spanking. The incredible. Colors of more colors. Sounds of more decibels and tones. Orpheus and angels are playing every day. And you taught me how to listen. Bill, at our love's first blush, waves rushed over us, and out to sea threw me up on your shore, not newly out, but this new infatuation scared us. It made us want more. Time passed. Trees lost leaves. Flowers lost petals to wind and then grew new ones. We decided to settle together whatever the other ones say. Us can't be happy without us anyway. You guys like our age? Yeah, we're human. Campy songs, cool come-ons, boats on brilliant buoy bays. 25 years of nights spent close together is 9,131 days. Random acts of beauty, kindness wherever we can. Did the kindnesses turn to cruelties? Because I'm a man who loves a man? Give and get gifts at holidays. Happy when the home team wins. All these years of living, but all some folks see as sin.